The A380 was supposed to be the future, a double-decker superjumbo designed to carry over 800 passengers, a flying hotel in the sky. And Air France, one of Europe's most iconic carriers, was among its launch customers. So why did Air France pull the plug on the A380 years ahead of schedule? Why did they abandon the world's largest passenger plane just as it seemed destined for long-haul dominance? Let's dig into a story of engineering dreams, shifting economics, and a brutal reality check. Back in 2000, Airbus launched the A380 to take on Boeing's long-reigning 747. It was a bold move, build the biggest, most advanced aircraft the world had ever seen. And at the time, the timing made sense. Global air travel was booming. The idea was that mega hubs like Paris Charles de Gaulle, London Heathrow, and Frankfurt would become even more crowded. Airlines needed a bigger plane to handle the crush of passengers. Enter the A380. 4 engines, 2 decks, up to 853 seats in an all-economy layout. A marvel of modern engineering. An Air France, national flag carrier of France, was quick to get on board. In 2001, they placed an order for 10 aircrafts. Their first A380 joined the fleet in 2009. Painted in that sleek white livery, the plane became a symbol of prestige. It served routes to New York, Los Angeles, Tokyo, Johannesburg, and more. But even in those early years, the cracks were forming. The A380 had a problem. It was too big for most airports. Only a handful of hubs had the gates, taxiways, and terminal space to handle it. And the A380 required 4 engines, at a time when twin-engine aircraft were proving they could fly just as far, using much less fuel. Twin-engine jets like the Boeing 777 and the Airbus A330 had already become long-haul workhorses by the early 2000s. They could fly transatlantic and even trans-Pacific routes efficiently. As engine reliability improved, aviation authorities began allowing these aircraft to fly longer routes over oceans, a concept known as ETOPS, Extended Range Twin-Engine Operational Performance Standards. This regulatory shift undercut one of the A380's major selling points: safety and range via 4 engines. Airlines could now send smaller planes farther, faster, and cheaper. Then there were the maintenance costs. The A380 was complex. For Air France, those costs started piling up, especially as the fleet aged. And here's something many people don't realize: not all A380s were built the same. Air France's were among the heaviest and least efficient of the type. They had older generation cabins, and refurbishing them would have cost a fortune. The maintenance challenges weren't just financial, they were logistical. Finding spare parts for a relatively small fleet of 10 aircrafts, especially as Airbus focused resources elsewhere, became a growing issue. Component support began drying up. Cabin interiors were aging, and as the aircraft approached a decade of service, a critical milestone loomed: the D-check. This is the most thorough and costly type of maintenance check, often taking aircrafts out of service for weeks and costing millions. For Air France, the A380 was heading straight for this cliff. Air France began seeing that newer aircrafts, like the Boeing 787 and Airbus A350, could offer similar passenger comfort, better economics, and crucially, flexibility. These aircrafts didn't require special airport modifications. They could be deployed across a wider network and used fuel far more efficiently. For a legacy airline already struggling with profitability, the A380 was becoming an expensive liability. By the mid-2010s, Air France was operating a fleet of 10 A380s, but utilization rates were low. The planes often flew half-empty, especially in off-peak seasons. The market had shifted. The hub-and-spoke model was losing ground to point-to-point service. Point-to-point travel meant more direct flights, fewer connections, and that trend favored smaller aircrafts. In fact, passenger behavior was changing in subtle ways. Travelers wanted more choices. Instead of flying Paris to Bangkok through Dubai, they wanted a direct Paris to Bangkok flight. Instead of big, crowded planes, they wanted more flights, more times, more comfort. Airlines that understood this early, like Delta, United, and even some Asian carriers, began shifting to smaller, more flexible aircrafts years before Air France made its move. The writing was on the wall. Then came the killer blow: maintenance overhaul. Around 2018, Air France faced a tough decision. The A380s were approaching their 10-year mark. That meant a mandatory heavy maintenance check, along with interior upgrades. The price tag? Over €50 million per aircraft. Refitting the cabin wasn't just about aesthetics. Air France's A380s lacked modern amenities passengers had come to expect. High-speed Wi-Fi, personal screens in all seats, more efficient seating layouts. Retrofits would have been a complex operation requiring extensive downtime. And even after all that investment, the aircraft still would have been less efficient than its newer counterparts. Air France crunched the numbers. Refurbish the A380s or invest in new, more efficient planes. The decision became clear. The A380s weren't bringing in enough revenue to justify the cost. In 2019, Air France announced that it would retire its entire A380 fleet by 2022. That alone raised eyebrows. But then, COVID-19 hit. The pandemic devastated the aviation industry. Long-haul travel ground to a halt. Airlines were forced to ground entire fleets. And the A380, it became the first to go. Too big, too inefficient, and suddenly obsolete in a world of closed borders and depressed demand. Air France acted quickly. They accelerated retirement. By May 2020, just months into the pandemic, they had grounded their entire A380 fleet permanently. They wouldn't come back. This wasn't just a cost-cutting measure. It was strategic. Air France was undergoing a broader transformation. Under the Air France-KLM group, the airline wanted to streamline operations, improve margins, and build a sustainable future. The A380, despite its grandeur, didn't fit that vision. And let's be honest, Air France never truly loved the A380. Unlike Emirates, which designed its operations around the superjumbo, Air France always seemed slightly uncomfortable with it. Their interiors weren't as luxurious, the service wasn't as tailored, and they never fully exploited the aircraft's potential. There were no onboard showers, no lounges, no bar, just lots of seats and plenty of operating costs. In contrast, Emirates created an entire brand identity around the A380. Their onboard product became synonymous with luxury: suites, lounges, showers at 40,000 feet. For Emirates, the A380 wasn't just a plane, it was a statement. Air France, by comparison, used the A380 as a workhorse. They didn't heavily market it. Most travelers saw it as just another aircraft. It rarely drew excitement. That lack of differentiation hurt its profitability. So what now? Air France has shifted focus to a next-generation fleet. They've ordered dozens of Airbus A350s, which are now the backbone of their long-haul strategy. These jets offer lower emissions, quieter cabins, and better economics. They can serve routes like Paris to Tokyo or Los Angeles just as comfortably, but at a fraction of the cost. Additionally, the A350 aligns with Air France's climate goals. As part of a broader European push toward greener aviation, Air France has pledged to cut CO2 emissions and invest in sustainable aviation fuel. The A380, unfortunately, was a gas guzzler. Its carbon footprint per seat was far higher than newer alternatives. And there's one more factor: resale value, or rather the lack of it. The second-hand market for A380s is virtually non-existent. Few airlines want them. Even leasing companies struggle to find takers. That made refurbishing Air France's A380s even more financially risky. Some A380s have found second lives with startups or charter firms. A few are being converted into cargo aircrafts or even turned into museums. But most, they're being scrapped. An unceremonious end for a super jumbo that once symbolized the future. The A380, once hailed as the future, now looks like a product of the past. Airbus has ended its production. Most airlines are moving on. Even Emirates, the A380's biggest champion, is transitioning to the A350 and 777X. Air France's decision to retire the A380 early wasn't just about numbers. It was about agility, survival, and a recognition that size isn't everything. The A380 will always have a place in aviation history. But for Air France, the future lies in efficiency, flexibility, and environmental responsibility. And that's why Air France killed the A380 early. If you enjoyed this video, hit like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories from the sky.